Some games are just better the second time around, whether it's uncovering hidden storylines, mastering combat, or chasing alternate endings. These 10 games are absolutely worth another playthrough. Let's jump in. The Witcher 3 hits differently on a second playthrough. Knowing how the story unfolds lets you make smarter choices, see alternate outcomes, and catch details you missed the first time. Quests like the Bloody Baron take on new meaning when you see the bigger picture. Plus, trying out different builds, like a sign-focused Geralt or a heavy alchemy setup, keeps combat fresh. If you didn't dive into the expansions, Blood and Wine alone feels like a full sequel. There's always something new to discover in this world, and a second run makes it feel even richer.
What do you want with him?
Want to talk to him.
What about?
Give me a bottle of something strong.
You gotta go. I'll open the back way for you.
XCOM 2 becomes a whole new beast on a second playthrough. Once you understand the enemy types and mission pacing, you can plan smarter strategies from the start. It's your chance to try out new squad compositions, experiment with different classes, and actually be prepared for those brutal plot twists. Plus, cranking up the difficulty or turning on Iron Man mode makes every decision feel 10 times more intense. If you rushed through the first time, you probably missed some of the wild customization options for your soldiers too. Going back with experience under your belt makes victory feel that much sweeter.
Moving to designated coordinates. Scanning. That didn't feel good. Could be something on this one. Target neutralized.
Reçu 5 sur 5. Ça va plaire aux ingés.
Knowing Arthur's fate makes his early choices and conversations hit differently, with layers of meaning you probably missed before. You'll catch subtle foreshadowing, hidden story threads, and character moments that feel much more significant. It's also a chance to tackle side content you might have skipped, legendary animals, hidden quests, and camp interactions that bring the world to life. You can choose a different honor path too, playing as a ruthless outlaw or a man seeking redemption. There's always something new waiting on the trail.
And Colm O'Driscoll?
He'll be holed up in his cabin. Be passed out, booze blind, likely as not.
Hey, over there. Someone's coming.
So, who's gonna tell him we ain't got nothing for the pot?
Oh, let me think. The feller that spooked the game, I reckon.
I'm gonna drain it. I'll catch up.
No, we ain't gonna fall for that. We're gonna wait so you can tell him yourself.
Yeah.
If anyone's actually gonna shoot the messenger, it'd be that mean son of a bitch.
Ghost of Tsushima becomes an entirely new experience when you know what's coming. With the story's twists fresh in your mind, character interactions feel more meaningful, and Jin's journey from samurai to ghost hits even harder. This time, you can fully commit to a stealthy ghost playstyle, or stick to the honor of a traditional samurai. You're also more likely to appreciate the world's beauty, explore every hidden shrine, and tackle the mythic tales you might have skipped. And, let's be honest, mastering those standoffs and perfect parries never gets old. It's a world that practically begs to be relived.
The spirits of the kami cried out to the ghosts. Their stolen key was being used to give the Mongols divine protection. Unless the rituals were stopped and the kami set free, Tsushima, the ghosts found 3 more rituals. One beside a river, one at a war camp, and one within a canyon. But the Mongols had almost completely drained the kami. The ghost would need extraordinary strength to defeat them.
Deus Ex: Mankind Divided lets you approach missions with more intention once you know how different choices play out. You might try a full stealth run, a non-lethal approach, or go loud with a combat-focused build. The game's level design is packed with hidden routes, secret rooms, and clever shortcuts that are easy to miss. Plus, you can double down on different augments, unlocking abilities that completely change how you approach encounters. If you thought you'd seen everything in Prague, think again. There's always another way in.
Watch out! I'm moving! Get him already! Face me! Come on!
Front Mission 3 pulls off one of the best uses of a branching storyline in gaming. Early on, a single choice splits the game into two completely different campaigns, the Emma route and the Elisa route. These aren't small changes either. Each path has its own missions, storylines, characters, and perspective on the larger conflict. The Emma route focuses on corporate conspiracies, while the Elisa route dives deeper into military politics and personal betrayal. If you only played one side, you've only seen half the story. On top of that, the Wanzer customization adds endless variety, letting you switch up your tactics with melee builds, long-range snipers, or missile-heavy loadouts. BioShock Infinite hits harder when you know how the story unfolds. Moments that felt strange or mysterious the first time suddenly make sense, and early conversations take on new meaning. The game's multiverse twists are packed with foreshadowing that's easy to miss, and once you know the truth about Booker and Elizabeth, every scene feels more impactful. It's also a chance to experiment with different vigors and weapon loadouts, mixing up combat in ways you might not have tried before. The floating city of Columbia is filled with hidden areas and lore that make a second visit feel just as memorable as the first. MGS5. The Phantom Pain is packed with details that are easy to miss on a first run. Early missions and cutscenes are filled with subtle clues about Venom Snake's true role and the deeper layers of the plot. It's also a chance to change up your approach, go full stealth, loud and lethal, or mix both depending on the mission. The variety of gear, buddies, and tools lets you experiment with new tactics for every outpost. With its open-ended mission design, no two operations ever have to play out the same way. Skyrim is a game where there's always something you didn't see the first time. Entire quest lines, hidden dungeons, and unique character builds can completely change the experience. Maybe you focused on being a warrior before. This time, try a stealthy assassin or a destruction-focused mage. The world reacts differently based on the choices you make, like joining the Thieves Guild or siding with the Stormcloaks. Even small decisions in quests can lead to different outcomes. With so many ways to approach combat, exploration, and role-playing, every return to Skyrim feels like a fresh adventure. Oblivion is a classic that absolutely deserves a second playthrough. The first time, most players get swept up in the main quest, closing Oblivion gates, saving the world, and following the path of the hero. But on a second run, you realize that the real magic of Oblivion is in everything outside of the main story. This time around, you can fully immerse yourself in the world's factions. Maybe you rushed through the Fighters Guild and Mages Guild on your first run, but now you can really savor the Dark Brotherhood and Thieves Guild storylines. Honestly, these faction quests are some of the best parts of the game, with wild plot twists and memorable characters. Who could forget Lucien Lachance from the Dark Brotherhood? Then, there's the joy of experimenting with a new playstyle. Maybe you played a Sword and Shield warrior before, but on your second run, you could go full stealth archer or commit to spellcasting with custom magic. The leveling system also makes a second playthrough more interesting, since you can build your skills more strategically and avoid the classic accidentally level too fast trap. Exploration also hits different. On your first run, you probably fast traveled everywhere, but on a second run, you might take your time wandering, finding hidden caves and stumbling upon weird side quests like A Brush with Death or Whodunit. In the Dark Brotherhood line, every little town has its own mystery to solve, and suddenly, those random NPCs have a lot more personality than you remembered. Oblivion is the kind of game where you think you've seen it all, but that second run shows you how much you missed. Those were 10 games that are absolutely worth diving back into. Whether it's discovering hidden storylines, mastering new playstyles, or just seeing things from a fresh perspective, these games prove that one playthrough is never enough. If you've got a favorite game that hit different the second time around, drop it in the comments. We might just feature it in a future list. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss more lists like this. Until next time, happy gaming.